The Desk Connect desktop automation driver enables users to send documents to a plethora of output locations with great efficiency. This video will highlight the two main methods of sending documents to SharePoint, as well as how to combine these methods together in order to rapidly process many different documents at the same time. Automatic submission workflow. To begin, let's look at a SharePoint library that has already been populated with documents using the desktop automation driver. Each item contains the file attachment along with SharePoint indexes that contain specific information from the document. I will now demonstrate how to send a document to SharePoint using the desktop automation driver. The first thing we need to do is submit the desired document to the desktop automation driver. I do not have any workflows already created, so this will open the workflow creation menu. I will then select the SharePoint Document Library Automatic Submission Workflow type. Note that we will go over the manual submission workflow type in the next section of this video. Selecting a workflow type will open the workflow configuration menu. I have gone ahead and configured the basic workflow settings. I can now select my desired SharePoint library, which is where the output will be sent. I can also browse the selected library and select a specific subfolder to house the output. However, this is not explicitly required. In this case, I will select the Invoices folder. I will now configure my file name field using document text. This is a simple process that involves selecting the desired text from the document. In this case, I would like to use the invoice number as the output file name. SharePoint indexes from the selected SharePoint library have been automatically added to the workflow configuration as new fields. I have configured some of these fields in the same manner that the file name field was configured. Configuring fields like this is extraordinarily useful as any field configured with document text will automatically update with each new document that is processed, which enables the workflow to be incredibly efficient. I will now hit Finish to complete the workflow configuration and process the document. This workflow can now be used to easily send any invoice to SharePoint with the click of a button. We can see our successfully submitted documents in the specified SharePoint folder. In addition to this, we can see the SharePoint indexes that have been populated from the document text. I will now create a manual submission workflow. Manual submission workflow. When using the manual submission workflow type, the user is able to choose a different SharePoint library as the output location for each individual document that is processed. I will first configure the basic workflow settings. I can now hit Finish to complete the workflow configuration. Within a couple of seconds, an input menu will appear, prompting the user to pick a desired SharePoint library. In this example, I have two purchase order folders, one for ABC Company documents and one for XYZ Company documents. I can zoom in on the document preview to determine which SharePoint folder to send the document to. For this document, the vendor name is ABC Company, so I will select the ABC Company Purchase Orders folder. Once a SharePoint folder is selected, the SharePoint indexes can be filled out for any desired fields. The manual submission workflow type can be quite helpful when you would like to send similarly formatted documents to different places depending on the user's needs. In this case, I will send this XYZ Company purchase order to the XYZ Company SharePoint folder. We can now see the successfully submitted documents in the specified SharePoint library. The classification of documents into specific subfolders can greatly improve overall organization, and the desktop automation driver enables users to easily send documents into any SharePoint folder of their choice. I will now demonstrate how a file containing multiple document types can be easily split up and sent to SharePoint. Submitting multiple document types at the same time. This document contains a packing slip, 2 invoices, a purchase order, and a patient registration form. I already have a workflow created for each of these document types, So I will simply need to tell the desktop automation driver to process each page with its own workflow. To do this, I will configure a browser menu entry and enable the Inspect Every Page of the document setting. Now, when I submit a document to the desktop automation driver, I can hit the Multiple Document Types button to process the document using that custom browser menu configuration. Since the purchase order workflow uses a manual SharePoint submission type, I will need to select my desired SharePoint library. The rest of the pages from the document use an automatic SharePoint submission workflow type, and thus will automatically be sent to their respective SharePoint folders. When we navigate to SharePoint, we can see that all of the pages from the input document have been successfully sent to their respective SharePoint folders. This ability to process numerous document types with just the click of a button creates an extremely efficient system for sending any document to SharePoint. In conclusion, the DeskConnect desktop automation driver provides the means to seamlessly send documents to SharePoint, and using the built-in tools of this product, users can vastly improve their efficiency when working with the SharePoint system.